Aloha and welcome to Voices of Change, the HSFCU podcast, where we educate, build connections, and deepen relationships in the community. I'm your host, Bunny Tanaka with Hawaii State Federal Credit Union. Today, we're excited to have our guest, Duane Kurisu, the founder and chairman of IO. Welcome, Duane.
Oh, thanks, Bonnie. Appreciate it.
And now you are the founder and chairman of IO, right?
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about IO?
Okay, so we say IO. When we started, we said AIO because we felt that people outside of Hawaii couldn't pronounce three vowels in a row. So for the longest time, we said AIO, but truly, it's a Hawaiian word. IO is a Hawaiian word. It's the hidden power beneath an unbroken wave.
Wow.
Or you can say mana. So when I talk to people in Japan and I talk about IO, they say, "Oh, I understand. Oh, big love."
Oh.
So they say, "Oh, it's like ki." So it's really it's about energy.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of different companies in different industries. So many would say, I really don't get what all of this means and how this all fits in together. And back then, we haven't used the term Hawaii Soul like we use today, but really it's about IO is about celebrating who we are. It's about celebrating Hawaii and what we stand for and what our values are. Because I believe we have a responsibility to share that with the rest of the world, because we're special people. So these different companies touch people in different ways. In learning, is rather than just reading, sometimes it's better to hear,
Yes,
rather than only see. So our companies is about seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and feeling. So we have everything from a Punaluu bake shop on a big island to media companies. We have we're involved in sports and technology.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the operating company side, and we have all the real estate side where we have we own buildings, shopping centers, office buildings, hotels, and industrial parks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so IO, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
So now that I've told you all of this, you're looking at me thinking, "Wow, I must be a confused person." Yes,
No.
yes, I am.
Not a bit.
Yeah.
So let's take a few steps back
Yeah.
about your days growing up in Hakalau.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really building the foundation of shaping you and to who you are today, about bringing in trust, generosity, and good integrity. So what were those days like?
Well, as you're saying that, I can smell the dirt. I can smell. We took a bath in a bathhouse outside, so I can still smell the bathtub. I don't know what kind of wood
Wow.
everybody's bathhouses were made from, but I can smell it right now.
Yeah.
But so those things brings back the strong memories that I have, and the things that I have inside me that are deep rooted, that drives me, actually in the way I see things, in the way I see people, in the way I relate to people. Because back then, our aspirations were about things like trust, responsibility, gratitude, friendship, rather than aspiration for power and money. So if somebody gave you too much money, too much change, the storekeeper gave you too much change, you go back and say, "Hey, sorry, Mr. Fuji, you gave me like 10 cents too much."
Yeah.
Or, the feeling of thanks was really not something that you you accepted, but something that you really you gave. If somebody was older than you, you'd always call them Mr. and Mrs. But we grew up poor, but we didn't know we were poor, because it was the core of living in these plantation communities like Hakalau, wasn't only about yourself, was empathy for everybody else. And it was really empathy about what makes our community thrive. Even as a little kid, that's the way we all felt. We had pride about living in our community. And a lot of those things that I'm speaking about are foundational for me, even when I was a young working adult, in the decisions that I made, and later on when I became an entrepreneur, in coming up with solutions for problems, or now as I'm older, looking for solutions for our community and our community at large. Some of it which might be global issues. It all comes back to those values, and I think it's the reason why we started this whole campaign called Rediscovering Hawaii's Soul. It's about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, in the center of that community,
Yeah.
credit unions were there.
Yes, I remember Hakalau Credit Union. And it functioned as our bank. So when you think about this, the banks used to close at 3:30, I think. In Hilo. And Hilo was like a half an hour drive away. My father used to get off at work at 3:00, so he wouldn't be able to go to the bank. So the credit unions function as our bank. So it was the center of the community, like how banks today are centers of rural communities. So I remember Mrs. Morita, she was the secretary at the credit union, and whenever I should see her, I would say, "Duane, save up now." Okay, I mean, that was implanted in our head that that's what we're supposed to do. And so the credit union back then helped to provide us growing up in a plantation camps with quality of life. So it was how my mom and dad would be able to buy a refrigerator, or to I'm sure maybe some people even use that to buy groceries. I don't know, but it was our way of it was our conduit to living a life that helped to
I love how that philosophy back then still carries on to being credit unions are there for the people and to do right for the people. So it's neat to know that was organic probably back then.
Yeah.
But the stories live on, and the memories of that carry on as well, right?
Actually, when going back to my childhood, thinking about the credit union, I know exactly where it was.
Yeah.
It was next to it was first in a refurbished, actually wasn't reused plantation home. And I think to myself, I thought that was our bank. When I was young, I thought, the credit union was our bank.
Yeah, that's your bank.
Yeah.
But it wasn't fancy. It didn't need to be.
No, it didn't need to be.
Yeah.
In fact, it was fancy, then we probably would be out of place.
Okay.
So to this day, when I see the credit union, not only here but in other parts of the United States, it brings back memories about how the credit unions was and still are institution. It still is an institution that's core to communities.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. And that's why we're doing this and bringing speakers in like you to share about, your values and how you really treasure community, the importance of it. Let's go back to that part about how Hawaii is like the template, has the template. And people may not see it that way, but you definitely do. So please share on that.
Well, I believe that, people from Hawaii, we can travel to the most distant places, eat the most exotic foods, meet the most unusual people. But because we can be authentic to who we are, we always feel that we're comfortable wherever we are because we're always at home. And I just by habit, whenever I meet people, I ask people, where's home? And actually, most people on the continent, if you ask them where's home, they'll say, well, where's home? Well, I live here now. I was in Chicago, 2 years ago. I was from Minnesota and California. But they go through that process. If you ask anybody from Hawaii, where's home? They'll say, I from Hawaii or Waimanalo. In my case, if anybody asks me where's home, I say it's Hakalau.
Yeah.
I used to say Hilo.
Okay.
But
Why the change?
I got corrected by people. I said from Hilo. I said stop calling Hilo home because you're trying to be a social climber. You're from Hakalau, 15 miles from Hilo. It's a joke.
No.
No, it's a joke. No, Hilo is home. I feel Hilo, but my home really is the plantation town that I grew up in.
Yeah. I just had chicken skin.
And my bank. Can you think about it? Was Hakalau Credit Union.
Right. And that's home to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like when people say, oh, where did you go to high school? Or where did you grow up? And you Hawaii people are like, oh, high school. Yeah. Where did I go?
So because we're always at home, and there's something really special about a person from Hawaii that I think it allows us to see things in different ways because we're always comfortable where we are.
Yeah.
So rather than only looking at ourselves, I think we're empathetic to everything that's going on around us, and we show empathy to other people that we see, so that when we say aloha, it's not just by saying somebody hello. I mean, you really mean hello, like not I love you. Supposed to be like that, but hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true.
So, so even for me, when I do a lot of work, well, I cannot help myself. Whenever I travel places, I feel like because I'm there, and partly because I'm from Hawaii, and because I'm older, I feel a personal responsibility of leaving that place better than what I received when I first got there. So in that process, I feel confident about doing things there because Hawaii people we have evolved hearts. I mean, I think we're world-class hearts. And so when I suggest that we do something or we collaborate in doing something, it's there's a magnetism isn't the right word. There's a belief that what we're saying is true. And you know what? The other thing, what the belief that we're going to do what we say. That's foundational to who we are.
Yeah.
We don't just say stuff. We do what we want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about housing in Hawaii.
Okay.
I know this is a sharp turn,
Oh, yeah.
but it's
Yeah, I'm confused anyway. Yeah.
no, but
Yeah.
it's something that's a passion of yours, and you've worked hard on it. And you can share a project that you've done,
Yeah.
or where you see it going, and the work that needs to give people hope.
Yeah, so I think maybe I started thinking about this in 2015. You went with homelessness
Yeah.
and being bothered with it like everybody else. And finally I said, yeah, I'm going to have to do something about it. But the solutions that I came up with, like I mentioned earlier, the foundation for the solution came from growing up in a plantation community. So my belief was that addressing the issue of homelessness isn't about shelter. It's about building community.
Mm-hmm.
So together with friends, we conceived Kahauiki Village, a community that now houses about 700 adults and children, with a child care center, preschool, a community store, post office, a learning center, like a rec center, which you could say is like a gym.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a central park meeting place in Kahauiki Village where community things happen. So when you look at Kahauiki Village, it's really a replication of a plantation town.
Right.
So, and to this day, Tesla said it's the only community in the world that's off the grid. And to this day, I don't understand why other people don't have their own. There's a central solar power plant.
Oh.
So the village owns its own power plant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When we after we finished the first phase of Kahauiki Village, this was in 2018, I think. I think it was Amazon, or was it Netflix? One of those guys that did a film documentary, and this producer called and said he went to 49 states to look at how the states are addressing homelessness. And he called it, so he toured Kahauiki Village because he said this is the ending part, this is the last part he has to do in completing his documentary.
Mm-hmm.
But after touring Kahauiki Village, he said I should have started here first.
This is it.
Because Kahauiki Village is the model for the rest of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But when you really going back to how things were in the way we grew up in the plantation camp, where people cared for each other, and when I think about it, it wasn't only for physical needs, it's psychological needs, spiritual needs, where where we had Filipino, Japanese, Chinese, Puerto Rican, Hawaiians, where it wasn't about tolerating each other. It's about acceptance of each other and each other's values and culture and our spiritual beliefs. I remember, so you could go to a funeral service in a Buddhist church and you say, okay, here's Paul Unoki representing Honolulu Christian Church. Here's somebody representing Hakalau Catholic Church.
Yeah.
That's the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's well, all for one for all,
Yeah.
And so in building Kahauiki Village, that was a concept. And I remember the day that we were issuing, I was issuing keys.
Mm-hmm.
And also Kahauiki Village was originally for families with children. So I saw a young child and big boy. So I said, come to uncle. And he came to me. Well, he was heavy, I remember. But, I carried him and I looked at his eyes. And I had tears coming down my eyes because I saw that this boy now has hope and he has a chance to dream.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and said, it's just like us growing up in a plantation camp. We had a chance we had chance. Growing up, we had chance. And like my brother Derek, who runs KTA, would say, hey, if we didn't have a plantation village, maybe we all would be homeless ourselves. Because I remember my father paid, the rent was $23 a month. Water was $1 a year.
Wow.
Of course, it came from the river, but
Right. Still water.
it's water.
Yeah.
And so it was a remarkable time, but it's a time there was and a time that will be again. So that's the model for addressing the issue of homelessness. And today, our same team, we're helping Auntie Blanche McMillan out in Waimanalo with her project, and we're helping her because this lady, she's a I say she's an angel. She go, Duane, don't say that kind of stuff. I say, no, you're an angel. She's truly an angel, and so we will do what we need to do to support her in building this community that she's dreamed of in Waimanalo. So that's homelessness, and there's a methodology to building these communities. So foundationally, it's a collaboration with the state, the county, and private industry. And when we look at affordable housing in Hawaii, I would say that model that we have for Kauiki Village is a solution for affordable housing. And I'm not talking about like $750,000 for a condominium. I'm talking about something significantly lower, where you have a yard, not a large yard, but you have a yard, so that person who works at McDonald's, or the person that the person at McDonald's would be able to buy their own home.
Yeah.
And to me, it pains me when I hear that people say, I need to leave Hawaii because it costs too much. There's a solution, but what I'm speaking about is hard work. So so with that vision, it's about rebuilding Kahauiki Village in different, but a Cadillac version of it, but on steroids.
Okay.
But the methodology is all the same.
And who would have ever thought that Hakalau, would be replicated and that it would be like the light went on, like, it's what we had, it's community. And that's what people need. It's a sense of community and security.
Well, the person that gave me confidence that it'll work is Governor Waihee, because we're talking about this. He said, yeah, that's what we used to do way back, to building, it's about building homesteads.
Right. So, yeah. Wow. So let's touch on Rediscover Hawaii Soul.
Yeah.
Let's expand on that.
Okay. In essence, it's about bringing us back to this, letting our hearts drive our lives, and everybody in Hawaii having a shared vision and shared values. Nice. It's there. So that's why we said it's not discovering, it's rediscovering Hawaii's soul. And we started by bringing people with opposing views, like dramatically opposing views, spending 2.5 days looking for shared values. But what we discovered along the way, that the key to bringing Hawaii together, bringing our nation together, bringing our world together is trust.
Yeah.
So we've developed this process. It's not easy about building trust. So when we first convened, I don't know, 3 years ago, there were some people that didn't. We kind of laughed about it. They didn't even want to sit down next to each other. But today we're great friends.
Oh.
We're working on things together.
That's awesome.
Not only for Native Hawaiians, but for everybody. So we started off with addressing issues of Native Hawaiian, and we came up with 4 scenarios, and there are possibilities for Hawaii's future. But the only one that we said we 100% agree upon is we don't want number 1, which was doing nothing. Because what the future would happen if we do nothing is we could see what we could project for what Hawaii could end up being. So we all agree that that's not a possible future.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, it gave us this extra an inspired view to be able to find ways to end up working with each other. So it started with Native Hawaiian values, and we're still working on this on it being the base culture for the way we live, work, and play. But we have to remember that it also involves we have the Filipino, the Japanese, the Chinese, the Puerto Rican, the Portuguese, the Haole. We all played a part in shaping what Hawaii is today, how Hawaii was, and how Hawaii could be. And we all got to work on it together. The only way to bring the Hawaii that we see from our heads and feel in our hearts is by working together with this shared value. That's rediscovering Hawaii. So building trust first. And so we this process gets called into addressing military issues, Lahaina. One of the latest things we're working on is addressing the issue of ceded lands. So an unlikely combination of the chairing this group is Corbett Kalama and Bob Harrison from First Hawaiian Bank, working on addressing. So working together, together in our group, we see the light down the tunnel, and rather than just putting the issues and putting it under the carpet, we're addressing it head on.
Wow.
We're also at the beginning stages of what we say reactivating the Ahupuaʻa.
Oh, okay.
So it's there, you see the signs,
yes,
the Ahupuaʻa, but what does it mean significantly? But key to that, I mean, there are a lot of intellectual things that were done. So everybody knows what Ahupuaʻa is and what it could be. But the key is installing the Konehiki system in every Ahupuaʻa. So that's a challenge. But think about this then. So we have the county laws, state laws, and federal laws, which will still stay intact. So what does the Konehiki system bring to the Ahupuaʻa? It's about managing the Ahupuaʻa. It's about bringing the community together, but it's also about bringing the management, the oversight of those things that are significant to the Native Hawaiian culture, like fish ponds, historic monuments, that should be brought back to manage. So when you think about it, it's bringing sovereignty back to, maybe I should be saying this on the air, bringing sovereignty back to those things that are most important to the Native Hawaiian people.
Yeah.
It's about instilling that which is significant to, it actually is not only Native Hawaiians, everybody in Hawaii.
Yep.
The importance of our aina, those things are important to us culturally and spiritually. So, the fish ponds are not only important to the Native Hawaiians, it's important to us too. I'm Japanese, it's important to me.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I hope, and I've said this before in public, I've been more bold about saying this in public, I'll say it now, that, just like in building Kahauiki Village, I said, I'll die to make that happen. Not for me, but for all the people who made a commitment, put their selves at risk in standing behind that we can build a community for those who are homeless. So likewise, I can say, I'll say that I'll die for Hawaii. I'll die for the people of Hawaii.
Wow.
I will die. So why can't I call myself Hawaiian? I'm Japanese. Why can't I call myself Hawaiian? And I know it's something that's controversial. I don't have the koko, but I love this place.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, I would like to see that being more. I still, when I walk down the street, I can't call myself Hawaiian, but I challenge myself to say it in front of others because I'm old. I'm old, so I just sit down there. I say things. I say things maybe not I shouldn't say, but I say it because that's how I feel.
Yeah. So
and in this process, I remember there's actually a number of, actually not, I was thinking about one, but a number of very prominent leaders in Hawaii. They come up and say, I was surprised. They said, Duane, I finally found peace with myself here in Hawaii because I don't know where I stood. I'm not Hawaiian.
Wow.
I'm Japanese or I'm Filipino, but I feel like, wow, I finally feel like I belong. And these are older guys, not old like me, but pretty close in age to me. So I think this process is really important.
It is. Yeah.
We all feel truly that not only wherever we go, we call this place home, but I mean, this is home. You infringe upon us. That's how I feel. Outsiders, you infringe upon us. Hey, you have a battle, man.
Is this kind of tying into us guys?
As us guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I forgot about,
Yeah,
Then,
let's talk about that.
Growing up in Hakalau, like, yeah, we had, among guy people, we had our differences, but if anybody from Honomu, Lapo, this community, anybody outside of Hakalau would attack anybody from Hakalau, hey, you don't screw with us. Sorry, you don't fool around with us guys. It's us guys from Hakalau, us guys against you guys.
Wow.
And then when I went to middle school at Kalaniana Ole High intermediate school, then to me then that became us guys, Hamakua Coast, that became us guys. Don't you trade with us guys. Then I went to Hilo High School. That's why I say I still call Hilo home, because same thing that Hilo. So anybody from Hilo, I tell them, you have to prove to me that I cannot trust you. I trust you already first, but you got to prove to me I cannot trust you because you're part of us guys.
Got it.
So I always, tease Governor Waihe. He went to Honoka'a, right? For him, us guys was Honoka'a. Then his us guys was he went to yeah, that's right, yeah, Honoka'a. That's right, Honoka'a High School. And that's the other guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But so, what to me in Hawaii, with this whole rediscovering Hawaii soul process and shared values and trust, we gotta stand for this place. It's us guys,
Yeah.
us guys from Hawaii, us guys from Hawaii. Gotta stand together, especially right now. The nation is so divided. The world is so divided. When it comes down to it, who's gonna help us guys?
Yeah.
Us guys, we gotta take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
So us, even more so now, it's so important that we work on being resilient. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard for us to find ways that we can feed ourselves. But it can be done. And we just got to make an all-out effort to be resilient.
Yeah.
Because
Commitment.
we got to help. We got to take care of us guys.
So, Duane.
So let me tell you something else. So,
yeah.
you know, there was a convening, and this guy said, you know, he wanted to do his own convening by himself on sovereignty. So I said, I went to sit down with him. He said, what you doing over here? I said, no, I'm with you. This is Ku'e. This is. So I said, yeah, I'm with you. But think about this. If the United States end up not staying together, which is a more possibility now than ever before, where all the states break up and say, okay, Texas, everybody kind of form their own hui. Who could take Hawaii? We gotta be prepared for that. Or if there's a major global disaster, we gotta take care of ourselves. To me, we have to be sovereign to ourselves for that. As maybe 5 generations from now, maybe we don't need the United States. Be proactive about that. But right now we have to be proactive about making sure that we can take care of ourselves, because we got to be prepared that nobody going to help us.
Right. Yeah.
So us guys got to help ourselves.
Yeah. I like how us guys grew from Hakalau to us guys. Everybody in Hawaii.
Well, just like everybody else, whether you're from Waimanalo or Waianae or Hana or Kaunakakai, same thing, man. When you think about it and you think about what we have to be prepared for.
So your greatest wish for Hawaii? I'll give you one wish. Maybe you can have another one too.
Yeah.
What is it?
That our grandchildren are going to live in a Hawaii, in a world that's better than what than what we receive. So we will leave a Hawaii for our grandchildren that's better than how we received it. And we have no excuse. We have no it's commitment. So instead of just watching things go by, being an observer, put your feet and your hands inside and make something work. You can say, well, I'm not network, but do something. It doesn't mean you're going to do something dramatic. Pick up the rubbish. Help that person that's of need. Give somebody a voice that he or she doesn't have. Help those who feel that they're disenfranchised. Or better yet, think about those things that we need to do to make this place a thriving, to build a thriving economy. And people from outside of Hawaii say, Hawaii isn't like the Hawaii that I knew before. So I don't know about traveling like that anymore. Before, all of us was all about aloha.
Yeah.
My mother used to bring home people like she used to ride the bus. She used to bring home people to our house. Like, who is this? Well, I don't know, but I mean,
They needed to be fed.
Yeah,
or
I
something.
just met this person, so brought him to our house.
Yeah.
But even tourists, like somebody that came off a ship, they were kind of walking, hey, come our house. To me, you talk about, I don't know if it's tourism, it's just showing our aloha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's, so being authentic to, again, if we are authentic to who we are, that's our greatest strength. Just focus on that.
Right.
So that's, I look at my two grandchildren, my two grandsons. That's what I live for, and that's why I spend all my energy, whatever I can do, to help us guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Duane. Oh my goodness.
What?
No, just thank you
What?
for sharing. I'm
Yeah, man, everything was half pigeon, so
I
what
got
am. But
it.
it's been a privilege to be here, and
Yeah.
I thank you for this opportunity to be here, so I can at least see the building that Andrew would talk about so often, but never invite me to go be in here. So
And then all of a sudden you're
I'm
like
here.
on stage with a microphone
yeah,
doing
man.
a podcast video.
Hey.
Yeah. You made it.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I tell you what, you didn't ask me to sing and dance.
No,
I'm
that's
really
next time. But you speak from the heart.
Yeah.
And I think that's just something that we can't lose, is just being authentic on who we are. And we're all part of this community, and we all have to pick up rubbish. We all have to help each other out, because who's going to help us? We only have us guys, right?
Yeah.
So thank you so much,
no,
Duane.
thank you,
Yeah,
thank
for
you.
now, for the future generations.
Thank you.
Appreciate it so much.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thank you.